Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman and today we are doing a makeup look based on the book talk that I did on Wednesday, which was Botticelli's Secrets by Joseph Luzzi, and I was fortunate enough this year to see one of Botticelli's paintings at my local art museum, and the one that we are recreating is Pallas, so stay tuned. Let's get started with a tutorial. As always, I've washed my face and done my skincare. I've crimped my hair in a Renaissance kind of fashion, especially with the painting that I'm kind of mimicking the tones and colors in. So this week we talked about Sandro Botticelli and his paintings, especially referring to Dante's Divine Comedy, but I was fortunate enough to see a traveling show of some Uffizi pieces, and the Pallas and the Centaur was one of those pieces, which is by Botticelli, and the goddess is just so beautiful. She has kind of this wavy red hair. She's going after a centaur for acting very naughty. She has a very large kind of axe, and she has all these vines kind of wrapping around her, but more importantly, we are going after what's going on with her skin, at least today. So let's get started. Because we're doing a Botticelli painting kind of mimicking those tones, there's really not a lot going on, because in Renaissance Florence, there's not a lot going on in female makeup, at least in paintings. So these are the colors that we are going to be using. These are my brow colors, and these are going to be the eyeshadow colors. If you're thinking, why am I watching this tutorial? I have no interest in becoming a Renaissance painting, then think of it as kind of the building blocks of how to create any look, because we are going to be focusing on skin, on clean skin, clean beauty, minimal makeup. So this is a really great one for anybody who just wants to do a few shadows, pop out the door. This is for you. So let's get started. As always, we are going to start kind of just by prepping the face. I'm going to use my Rock and Kohl by Charlotte Tilbury just to add a little bit of something along the eye line, because I want a little bit of that contrast. If I was being painted, there would definitely be some kind of a shadow, some kind of a line right along the lash line. Because a sign of beauty is that contrast between your lid line and the whites of your eyes, as well as the difference between your eye color and the whites. This is an old standard of beauty, by the way, so don't freak out if you don't have a lot of contrast. We are talking Florence Renaissance today. And then I'm going to use my NARS Tinted Primer, because the skin of a Botticelli female is just so beautiful. So, I mean, they have no blemishes, they have nothing. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's silky, it just looks really lovely, like they're really taking care of their skin. Sometimes he's painting goddesses and sometimes he's painting the Virgin Mary, so everybody looks really good. Now we're going to go in with our corrector with a really fluffy brush, and just very lightly we're going to work in that corrector. So again, this is a really great how to start your makeup application, or maybe this is just a really good everyday kind of a look for you if you don't want to wear a ton of makeup. Because we just want clean skin and a little bit on the eyes to give it a little bit of shadow, a little bit of contrast, but otherwise it's a really, really clean look. So I'm bouncing my brush and then blending out the edges. putting that foundation anywhere where I'm seeing a little bit of discoloration. We want to be purposeful with our makeup. We don't want to just slap it on. Everything has a purpose. And when everything has a purpose, then you're using a lot less product. My nose is a place that usually gets quite a bit of discoloration, so I usually put quite a bit there, and not as much on my forehead. Especially as you get older, your forehead is one of the first things to get fine lines and wrinkles. I would say put the least amount of makeup in those areas, wherever those areas are for you. For me, it's definitely my forehead, and I don't want anything to get caught in there. A primer can also help something that is silicone based. However, it is a really good idea to match your primer base with your foundation base. So if your foundation is silicone based, I would look for a silicone based primer. If your foundation is water based, then I would look for a water based primer. They will talk to each other and work together so much better. They do not have to be from the same company, although that is a good place to start. Skin complexion is almost done. We're going to add a little bit of concealer and a little bit of blush, and then we're going to move on to the eyes. Same brush, same really fluffy brush that I used for the corrector. And we're just making sure that everything's nice and blended. And I will go in with my fingers just to lift off any excess, because the painted women don't look, they just look very natural, but they look like a Renaissance ethereal version. Okay. All right, everything's nice and blended. Now, before we go in with powder, I always like to do the eyes just in case there is a little bit of dropout. And first, I'm going to do my brows. So I'm going to go in with Sandstone Brun eyeshadows. I'm finding any place where there are some holes, and I'm just going to fill those in. The brows and the paintings are very, very natural, so we're just going to keep it, everything's just really nice and natural today. If you do get a chance to see this traveling show or get yourself to Italy, to the Uffizi, it is very good. They did a great job. And it's not all Botticelli. It's a few other, it's artists from his workshop, and just kind of comparing those. Plus you get to learn a little bit more about Florence, which was quite the hopping place back then. All right, 201, going in with Kid. In Pallas and the Mentor, there are quite a bit of like pinky brown tones, and Kid is just the perfect shade for something like that. So I'm bringing it onto my lid because it does look like she has a little bit of something on her lid. Not makeup, just a pinky shadow, because there's a little bit of a pinky lip. And I'm pretty sure he was just trying to make her look alive, so that she wasn't totally washed out. And if we think about it, our lips do have a natural color. So later we're going to be going in with Kitten Mischief. And again, just really nice and light. The fluffier your brush, the less product you're putting on the skin. The denser your brush, the more product you're putting on the skin. I'm going to go in with my Sonia Kashuk Tapered Crease brush, back into Kid, And I'm just going to focus in the crease a little bit more, just to create a little bit more definition. Because again, if I was being painted, you definitely want to show that difference between the lid and the crease. And then I'm going to go back in with my 201 and just soften that out. All right. Then I'm going to go back in with my angled brush from Sigma, and I'm going to take Charcoal Brown from MAC, and I'm just going to use that along my lash line. I'm going to take Charcoal Brown and Brun and just run that really quickly along my lash line. I'm not using liquid or gel. I almost don't want you to be able to see it, but we do want just a little bit of definition. No wings. And I'm even going to go in with my, my 207 from BK Beauty, and just really lightly run the brush along the edge of that line and make sure that it's nice and soft. So it almost disappears, but I'm just building up that lash line just a little bit. The women in a Botticelli painting, they have such interesting expressions on their faces. I spent a long time just kind of staring at them because they always look a little bored. Or not bored, but like yes, I'm just here. Hello. No big deal. Not really paying attention. I always wonder, like, what are they thinking about? Even in The Birth of Venus, where she's coming out of this clamshell and there's wind and so much movement going on, she's just like, I'm here. Whatever. All right, we are going to add a little bit of mascara. So Bobbi Brown's Smoky Lash. If I had a brown mascara, then I would have gone for a brown mascara. Brown mascara is a great way to introduce younger ladies into mascara because it's not quite such a contrast, which is really all that mascara is doing. It's just creating an extra contrast between the whites of your eyes and the rest of your skin tone. And this, again, is another sign of youth. The longer and fuller and thicker your lashes, the younger you look. Which is also a very old beauty thing that we all still believe and follow to this day, which is really interesting. Okay, let's powder. So pale yellow powder on my blush and powder brush. Just through the center of the face. The skin in a Botticelli painting it's like that in between a matte, I'm going to call it a velvet. It's like a velvety skin. There's dimension. It's not flat, but it's definitely matte. No highlighting. Going in with Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. Just for a little bit of something on the cheeks. And then final step, we're going to do Kitten Mischief, which matches my lip color pretty spot on. And that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I think it's really fun to take artwork and try to recreate it in our makeup, especially artwork from the past. But I think it's also a really fun study on minimal makeup, everyday makeup, and just a good place to start. From this look, you can go anywhere. You can take it to a smoky eye, you can take it to a daytime smoky eye, you can do all of these things, adding more shadow, adding different highlights, but this is a great place to start. So thank you again for watching. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday, and on Mondays I'm doing quick tips and tricks on fashion and beauty to make your life a little bit easier. So hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!